fair to say you simply flooded the system with money?
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we, as a central bank, we have the ability to create money that actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency, and we distribute that through the Federal Reserve banks.
This is it. It is over. This is what the end looks like.
So that I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government.
Something called Bitcoin.
Brother, can you spare a Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. You never heard of them a few weeks ago? Now everybody's talking about them.
The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed,
eCash
is a reliable eCash.
Right.
A method whereby on the internet you can transfer
Somebody can
funds
figure that out.
from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A.
Let's talk about
biggest
let's talk about Pirate Chain, or well, among other cryptocurrencies. It's not the only one. That's as much as the intro I can play. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. This is This Week in Crypto. It's a little late. It should have been yesterday, but I've been busy. You know why? Because I've got people bothering me. Not bothering me. I'm talking to people who are trying to get ARRR, Pirate Chain. So I'm talking about that again this show. Even though we are not pushing coins on this channel, we just talk about them, and this just happens to be the story of the week as far as we can tell. The level of excitement about ARRR. So I want to make sure to talk about that today and talk more about whether you want to get into it. This show is done after I send out a newsletter every week. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, there's a link in the description for this video on YouTube, and it goes out for free. It's basically totally free information, and there are ways you can lose all kinds of money if you follow directions properly. So that's the newsletter, and that goes out, and that went out today, so everybody got it. Ooh, boy, what can I tell you? Well, there's big news. First of all, the market's way up today. So everybody that told you it's going down forever, it is back up today. We're hoping that that is a sign of things to come. We'll see. Got in on a few extra coins, talked about a few extra coins in the newsletter. Want to make sure to cover that. This is LTV Crypto. I am Nathan Stoltman. This channel is about crypto education. Want to bring you guys information about cryptocurrency. You can support the show by going to our website. We sell t-shirts, truthclothing.io. Check that out, truthclothing.io. We even have a few crypto t-shirts already, and they're actually included in the sale that's happening right now. Truthclothing.io. Check it out. That's what the website looks like. We have a whole bunch of stuff that's totally on sale right now and limited edition too. So head on over there, truthclothing.io. There's free shipping on orders over $50, and we have more shirts coming down the line. All right. Now, what should I tell you about? Tesla sold some Bitcoin. What do I have to tell you about that? Tesla sold some Bitcoin. It turns out they made a profit, but it's nothing to panic about. The market didn't react. They just reported today in their Q1 earnings that they happened to sell some Bitcoin to turn a profit, about 10% of their investment. They turned a huge profit, but overall, the news of that didn't affect the markets much. In fact, they said something kind of bullish about Bitcoin as part of that call. I have it in this report here. So let me show you that. This is the report from CoinDesk. Tesla sold Bitcoin in Q1 and made $272 million, which is way more than they make selling cars. They found a profitable business. You could open a business right now. You could open a business right now, and you can take half your investment, your treasury, and put it in Bitcoin. And then with the rest of the investment, try to actually make a profit, and you might do better on the Bitcoin half. That's the trouble these days. Do you invest in a small business, or do you just buy Bitcoin? So Elon Musk seems to be proving that the most profitable thing you could possibly do with your money is buy Bitcoin and then sell some a little bit at a time and just keep turning a profit. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if you could just buy something and you make a couple $100 million just because you're a little quicker than everybody else to get in on the action? So this is the story. The good news for Bitcoin, buried in this report, says, he said that Tesla will continue to accumulate Bitcoin through customer transactions and will make future Bitcoin related announcements in the future. So they use future twice to let you know that there is more Bitcoin news coming in the future, and I wonder what that might be. So that is bullish, I think. That Tesla says, first of all, they're going to keep accumulating Bitcoin from people buying their Teslas. And believe me, I'd much rather have a Bitcoin than a Tesla. But some people are exchanging one for the other. And they at Tesla are actually holding on to it. Same way we do with our t-shirts, actually. Should have mentioned that. If you go to our website, truthclothing.io, and go to other form of payment, you can pay in cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, or Litecoin. And it does not get converted into another form of currency. It does not get converted to fiat. It goes and is deposited in a crypto account, just like Tesla and Elon Musk are doing with their Bitcoin. They're not switching it over to fiat as part of the transaction. They're actually accumulating Bitcoin for real. So anyway, basically it's not bad news. It was surprising at first that the news came out about it. But overall, like I said, didn't seem to have much effect on the price. People aren't freaking out. It wasn't like a total shock to the market. I think companies in general are going to have to do that. Just to be responsible to their investors. So they're going to have to take profits here and there. Otherwise it becomes too large a position. So there is going to be some balancing out actually that should be created by corporations owning Bitcoin, where if the price goes up too much, they'll have to sell some. And if the price goes down too much, that they'll have to buy some. This should be like a self-regulating thing at some point. And at some point, it could make Bitcoin actually less volatile, with less risk of downside, because companies will have to sell when they're up and they'll have to replenish when the price is down, making things kind of even out a little bit. So that's actually what Elon Musk did. It didn't seem to, however much they sold, it wasn't anything significant that it had to move the market or anything. So we'll see. I'm surprised more corporations haven't gotten into Bitcoin. That's what we're waiting for right now. And that's why I still feel pretty good about Bitcoin, even though the price went down more than I expected. I still feel pretty good about it because other companies have to get in on it. What else are you going to buy? Where else are you going to put your money? Seriously. Excuse me. Goodness. I have a frog in my throat. So then I'll tell you about Pirate Chain, because I've been helping people with that. I've been telling people not to buy it. I told somebody today. So if you've been involved in the Pirate Chain drama, I'll tell you the story. This is This Week in Crypto. So Jeff Berwick is going irresponsibly long Pirate Chain, which is just a privacy coin, which isn't brand new or anything. He's been talking about it for a little while. I mentioned it first in my newsletter a couple weeks ago when it came on my radar. It's gone up a lot. And recently, it seems like there was some kind of explosion of interest that came from somewhere. It came from Jeff Berwick, I guess. But then there are people actually peripheral to that also telling people to rush into Pirate Chain because it's the future. Because privacy coins are the future, and Pirate Chain is the best privacy coin. And you got to get in. You got to get in now and sell all your Bitcoin. Actually, even saying that. So I'll talk about that controversial part of it. So what it created is a rush of people trying to buy a coin that isn't really for newbies. It actually created an environment where all kinds of newbies are trying to get into crypto for the first time, and they're trying to buy something that's kind of not easy to buy and definitely not easy to sell. So I actually talked somebody out of it. Did you hear me say that earlier? I talked somebody out of it today because I explained to them what was going to happen to them when they want to sell their pirate chain. I had to talk on a show yesterday about people troubleshooting, getting in between the exchange and actually buying it. And you have to go to tradeogre.com, and then people were having trouble getting it off of there. And I was just saying, be careful for people still trying to get into it, newbies and stuff. It's not really a coin for newbies. You might not be able to handle it. And I suggest, and it's not necessarily good for my business doing consultations, but I suggest that if you need help, maybe, if you need help buying it, maybe you shouldn't be buying it, because there are lots of things that are pretty easy to buy that also give you a lot of speculative action. You can buy all kinds of crap on Coinbase that could go up a whole bunch, and it could go down a bunch too. I mean, if that's what's exciting to you. That's where my head is at on this thing is, yes, Pirate Chain is nice. It is a privacy coin. I've used it. Now it works. I understand what's going on with it. The fees are low. Transactions are pretty quick. And apparently it's totally and completely private. Your transactions are obscured from the outside. I can see the value in that. I can see the value in that making the price much higher than it is right now. So for a sophisticated cryptocurrency investor, getting into Pirate Chain, isn't necessarily that crazy. But for your average person, it might be, because you have to go through multiple steps. And they'll tell you the steps that it takes to buy Bitcoin are pretty easy, and a lot of other currencies too. There are lots of easy ways, generally speaking, to buy Bitcoin. There is not a single easy way to buy Pirate Chain. And then let's talk about holding Pirate Chain. So this is for newbies who are here wanting to know if they should get in on this. And yes, you could make a lot of money. You could. And I feel pretty good about it. But you might totally lose all your money. And it's not a small risk. It is maybe a fairly big risk, because you don't know what you're doing, pretty much. Like, you don't know what you're doing, because I've talked to you on the phone and on Zoom and stuff in these consultations, and you're not familiar with this environment. You, the crypto newbie, the crypto boomer out there, you're not familiar navigating these territories, and you're not necessarily ready for the panic that you're going to feel when you think you want to sell and you figure out that you don't know how, and you can't get in touch with Nathan, you can't get in touch with Jaron, because this already has happened to people. So this is what happened, and this is the reason I was like, all right, just get in if you want, but be cautious, because people have done this. They've bought their Pirate Chain, so this privacy coin, are so clever, and they've taken it and they bought it on this weird site called tradeogre.com that trades all kinds of sketchy privacy coins, and they buy it there. They go through the process. First, they have to go over on Coinbase. This is how the process, a lot of people are doing it. They're buying the Bitcoin over on Coinbase or Cash App or what have you, sending it to their own wallet, waiting for that transaction to clear, sending it from that wallet to TradeOgre. That's to obscure the transaction, right? So nobody knows what you're doing. Then they're trading for Pirate Chain. Then they try to get it off the exchange. And here's where the problems start, because TradeOgre is super backed up. They're not made for this kind of action. They're failing a bunch of transactions. So people are having trouble getting their coins from the exchange to their Pirate Chain light wallet. So here's the first problem, where, again, if you want to buy Bitcoin, open up a Cash App, open up a Coinbase account, buy it, hold it there. You're done. totally done, and totally safe. Like, I would say there's a 99% chance you're not going to lose your cryptocurrency. Wow, is that possible? When I put it that way, it makes it seem crazy to do anything else. I'd say there's a very, very high chance, maybe 99%, that you're not going to lose your cryptocurrency if you just buy it with Cash App or Coinbase. With this pirate chain, different story. You totally might lose it. And you totally might lose it on its way to your Pirate Lite wallet, which I explained, it actually works. People are actually able to get their coins there. But check this out. People have found out that when they want to take their pirate chain from their wallet, their Pirate Chain Lite wallet or whatever they got, that they can't get it back to the exchange, which this is the nightmare scenario that I envisioned, is that you're ready to sell, right? For whatever reason, you're ready to sell. And you know what happens when you're ready to sell. You're ready to sell right now. Then you got to figure out what to do. Okay, I got to go to my Pirate Chain wallet, and then I got to find my Trade Ogre account. I got to log into my Trade Ogre account. Okay, I got to get my deposit address on the Trade Ogre account. Now I got to send my Pirate Chain back to the exchange so I can sell it for Bitcoin. Well, guess what? People are trying to do that, and it's not happening. It's not happening in, like, not that it's taking hours, but that it's taking days. Yeah, I've heard it reported from multiple people. So this is the scenario. This is why sometimes I tell people, sometimes you might be better off just leaving your coins on the exchange, even though they always say you know how people say the best thing is to take your coins off the exchange and hold it in your own wallet. Well, this is a case where it's not necessarily the best case, not if you want to sell, because that extra step going to your wallet is an extra step between you and selling your coins. So that has already occurred. So, and in the future, Trade Ogre might not exist anymore. So, and there might not be other places, there may be in the future nowhere that you can trade Pirate Chain. It looks like there will be. And I'm relatively confident that push comes to shove, and I have some Pirate Chain, that I can figure out how to sell it. But I'm definitely not confident that other people will be able to do that, who have less experience and less kind of savvy with what's going on in cryptocurrency, how to find out where you can sell coins, where you can buy coins, etc. So Pirate Justin bought R on CoinEx and can't get it off CoinEx. So this is something, totally not easy to do, not for the faint of heart. Because of that, it does leave it open for the potential of maybe massive gains. A lot of times, this is what makes it tough, is because sometimes you have to go a little outside of your comfort zone to get really big gains. But sometimes the biggest gains in cryptocurrency are when you buy the coin, when it's the hardest to get, when it's the least available. Because then when it does become more available, then you get to benefit from the price gains. Because the thing with R that I will say is a lot of people want to buy it, but a lot of people aren't because of how difficult it is, And if it gets easier in a significant way, then that could allow in a lot more buyers who would maybe be buyers now and could really raise the price. So that's kind of what people are counting on. So again, not a bad investment if you can handle it, but these are the issues. These are the issues. Basically, the main issue being that selling. Eventually, you might want to sell. If you don't, and if you're in it for really the right reasons, then you buy your Pirate Chain, you put it in your wallet, and then you just forget about it until you want to send somebody some Pirate Chain because you believe in privacy money, you believe in Pirate Chain, and you think in the future that that's the way you're going to be transacting. And I say you should transact as frequently as possible that way. I'm anxious for people to start sending me Pirate Chain. And I've already done a transaction with those. Very exciting. You know, it's a real currency. And as far as privacy goes, you know, I'm coming around. You know, I wasn't into privacy coins before, you know, recently. But now I kind of am, and because I get it. Well, actually, if you just look at it, actually, from like a fundamental level, if you say that the best money will come out on top, then, and you look at the qualities that make money, then you'll know that anonymity takes fungibility to a whole new level, which is totally not possible with Bitcoin or these other coins that are not private. So because of that, you could argue, and I think it's reasonable, that Pirate Chain is better money. You could argue, in fact, depending on what you know about it, that it's the best. You could say that Monero is also very good, but because of whatever advancements they've made with Pirate Chain, that's even better. So you could argue that the best form of money on Earth at this moment is Pirate Chain. It might be. And again, that might cause the value to go up. And I do understand more than I did before the appeal of having something that is completely anonymous, because, you know, why not, right? If I can take donations in Pirate Chain, if people can pay me for cryptocurrency consults in Pirate Chain, that would be fine with me, you know, not because I have anything to hide or anything, but why not? Because who needs to know? There doesn't need to be a record of it. All I need to know is that I got my Pirate Chain, and the other person needs to know that they sent it. And you still know that. So I get it. And Monero's doing well too. And, you know, I could definitely see the argument for getting in on privacy coins. And you can get in on Monero a lot easier than you can get in on Pirate Chain, because it's more available. And the theory is that Pirate Chain will become more available. So I know it's mixed messages that I'm giving you, because I'm telling you you're not ready to buy it, and also that it might be a good investment. I know. It's true. Both things are true. It might totally go up a lot, and you might totally still not be able to turn it into dollars. It may be totally useless to you. You might lose your seed words. You might fall victim to a scam and give up your seed words, have somebody steal it from you. All those things are much less likely to happen if you have your coins on Coinbase or something. So because of that, because of the risk of loss, of total loss, that's why I said in my newsletter this week, I said, why not just take a chance on some cheap Coinbase coins that could also go up quite a bit. So I mentioned a few, and I don't know exactly, and only I mentioned a few that are around $2 or less and have the potential for explosive gains and have good buzz that I've heard great things about. So if you're interested in any of those in no particular order, I mentioned Polygon, Matic, I mentioned Algorand, I mentioned Storj and ENJ. I mentioned all those. So if you really want to take speculative risk on something that could go up a lot, but you're not ready really to cross the Rubicon into the Wild West of crypto land, then you can just go on Coinbase, pick up some of those coins, and they might go up a shitload. I mean, Polygon was up 50% today. You can't beat that. And it's only 50 cents still. People love that too. So there are plenty of coins to get excited about. And don't pick one because I told you to, or because Jeff told you to, or Jaron, or anybody else. Pick it because you get it. You know, that's the investments I've done the best with in my life. And the thing I believe is that you should try to invest in things which you understand, which you think you understand. And I think I understand, I really do, the benefit of a privacy coin. I get it. It's actually easy to understand. why people would want private transactions. It should be easy to explain to a child. So, that's the argument for that, or Monero, or any other privacy coin. For Litecoin or Dogecoin or XRP, they're better than Bitcoin at being money, and people are going to use them as money, right? So that's your argument for those too. But as far as these, and then there are lots of great projects out there you can invest in, and you can invest in, once again, relatively safely and without worrying about, losing all your money. So particularly for boomers, and also for people who just think it might be a little too much for them, it's cool. Like, you're going to miss out. You might miss out on some gains, but there are other gains out there to be had. That's really my closing argument, is that there are lots of different, very exciting projects to get involved in cryptocurrency that don't involve the kind of hassle that it takes to get Pirate Chain. So, and totally could go up even more. And there are other coins you can pick out there. So do your research, look far and wide, don't get locked in. But then again, I've given you my argument for why I like it. So that's it. That's the biggest news of the week is on Pirate Chain. So yeah, I'm kind of talking.
Things that people are doing.
I'm kind of talking people out of it, or I mean, as much as possible. Just saying, are you sure? And explaining the risks, because it's already come to fruition. People can't sell when they want to sell. So that is crypto. That's the way to learn a hard lesson. So, okay, that's the update on ARRR. So I hope everybody's having fun with it, and if you got it, great, and I hope it goes to the freaking moon. I really do. Be great if we all start using Pirate Chain or Monero or something. That's great. So this guy, Nassim Taleb, I'll close on this. This guy's supposedly a genius. Nassim Taleb, the guy on the bottom right here, supposedly super financial genius, wrote the book. I believe he wrote a book called Anti-Fragile. He coined the term Black Swan, I believe, and mostly was famous for calling the market crash in 2008 and basically predicting that it was going to happen and then profiting handsomely from it. His hedge fund also made tons of money when the market crashed last year during COVID. He made a bunch of money on COVID bets. So you'd think he's really smart and that he'd know what he was talking about Bitcoin, but he does not understand Bitcoin at all. But I thought I'd play what he said. Anyway, he says it's the P word. Here, I'll play this and we can analyze. He also said that if we all wore masks, this is also controversial. It kind of threw me off at the time. He also said early on in the pandemic that if we all wore masks, that it would go away. And I think we tried that, and it didn't do anything. So that's definitely a red mark on his record as far as his call on that, because we did try it and it totally didn't do anything. And then doctors had to come out and say, masks don't really work. So that was where he started to go off the rails. Now with Bitcoin, he's solidified his position as not knowing what he's talking about.
In terms of structuring their portfolio, given the amount of debt that's been taken on, as people have been buying up cryptocurrencies, maybe not in the last week or two, but clearly over the past several months, I have seen you take to Twitter and call this everything from a failed currency to an open Ponzi scheme.
It has characteristics of an open Ponzi. In other words, everybody knows it's a Ponzi. Basically, there's no connection between inflation and Bitcoin. None. Okay? I mean, you can have hyperinflation and Bitcoin going to zero. There's no link between them. It's a beautiful...
So that's his argument. No link. I don't know how much more ridiculous that can be when we have inflation, at least the way the Austrians think of it. We have inflation already in everything. So what is he going to say? That the stock market also doesn't reflect inflation or has no relationship to inflation? How can he say that? When asset prices have been going up and Bitcoin has been going up more than anything else, and people say they buy Bitcoin because it's a hedge against inflation. So people are saying that they're buying it as a hedge against inflation. I own Bitcoin because I want a scarce collectible asset to protect me against inflation. I mean, there has never been invented in the history of ever anything that's better at storing value so far and being able to actually transfer value too, even though it's kind of slow. So far, it's the best thing ever created for storing value and protecting you from inflation. It's scarce. Does he think gold doesn't relate to inflation? He said the dollar could hyperinflate and Bitcoin could go to zero. How's that? Bitcoin is a scarce, desirable asset. It's like getting real estate in Manhattan. It's scarce, desirable. And did I say scarce? It's exactly the kind of asset you would want. It's like a trophy asset, which is exactly the kind of asset you would want. Something that's hard to find, like rare collectibles, art, etc. Bitcoin is like that. So he's freaking crazy. Saying it has no relation to inflation doesn't reflect reality because we've had inflation and the price has gone up. And if, as a matter of fact, the price has gone up more than any other asset class. So maybe it's actually the best thing you can buy to protect yourself from inflation. I don't know. So let me see what else he said. I just thought it was kind of... And what's an open Ponzi scheme? If just people buying something and the price going up is a Ponzi scheme, then you could say that about anything. Just because there's a virtuous circle of more people buying, price going up, more people buying, that's not a Ponzi scheme. That's just a scarce asset that's going up in value and becoming more limited in supply at the same time. It's not a Ponzi scheme. It doesn't even make sense. I don't know what an open Ponzi is, but you could call anything a Ponzi scheme. You might as well call Tesla a Ponzi scheme in that case. All right, I'll play a little bit more. Let's see.
Beautifully set up cryptographic system. It's well made, but there's absolutely no reason it should be linked to anything economic.
No reason.
If you want to hedge against inflation, buy a piece of land, grow, I don't know, olives on it. You'll have olive oil. If the price collapses, you'll have something. But for Bitcoin, there's no connection. And of course...
So in any case, the other thing is he's talking about buying something that yields. And yeah, I can agree with that. Sure, start a business, whatever. Lots of different ways you can protect yourself from inflation. But Bitcoin, you can actually earn a yield now. So, and that's kind of nice. You can earn like 6% interest on your Bitcoin. So you can earn a yield. And you can't do that with gold, which is the world champion store of value, protect you from inflation. So once again, Bitcoin does all the things that gold was so good at better. Some of them like on a totally different level. And it's not a store of value. It's not a protection against inflation. I don't know. I say Nassim Taleb used to be cool, not cool anymore in my book. Doesn't know what he's talking about Bitcoin unless he's talking about the price going up, which is all we talk about here. So, all right. So that's the news on that. Oh, and then what was I going to tell you? People think, I'll go back to ARRR. Some people think that is a scam because Jeff is telling people to sell Bitcoin, or that he's selling Bitcoin to buy it. And that is some kind of a scam to try to suck money out of Bitcoin into Pirate Chain. And all I can say is, if that's the case, I'm just taking him at his word. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he believes. I do not believe, personally, that the price of Bitcoin is going down. I think the price of Bitcoin is going way higher. So I would not advise people to buy Bitcoin. I would tell people, in fact, for the most part, if you want to get into something, buy Bitcoin. If you want to be crazy, you could get into other stuff too. But I'm not telling people to sell Bitcoin, but some people are concerned that that's part of some kind of a scheme. So I just want to be clear that I like Bitcoin. I still like Bitcoin. Normal people are still going to want to buy Bitcoin to store value. It still is excellent at that, even though it's slow, even though it's expensive. For a store of value for like a normie, Bitcoin is still a great asset for that. And normies and rich people and corporations are still going to buy it, I think. That said, hedge yourself in stuff you think is better. Hedge yourself in stuff you think is better. Whether that's Monero or R or Litecoin or XRP or Bitcoin Cash. Lots of different alternatives to Bitcoin that are better than Bitcoin in different ways. And so if you think that's your theory, then yeah, go ahead and hedge yourself that way. But I wouldn't bet against Bitcoin, not me personally. I would not say that Bitcoin's going to zero. That's not my impression. So, all right, I think that's it. That's the update for the news. And we still are, what can I even tell you? I'll give you an update on what's going on in the show next time. Now I'll go over to DLive for a second, see if there are any questions in the chat I should get to. If you want to sign up for a consultation with me, go to my website, bitcoinmissionary.com. If you want to do a crypto consultation, if you want to get some Pirate Chain or anything else, or you just want to talk strategy or anything, you can sign up with me, bitcoinmissionary.com. And then you can catch me on DLive, dlive.tv/lifttheveil, and then maybe soon on some other platforms too. So for now, thanks everybody for tuning in. This was This Week in Crypto. For YouTube, that is what it is.